I'm Kim Furlong, and I'm the CEO of the Canadian Venture Capital and Private Equity Association. I represent both venture capital and private equity. A lot of people often forget the private equity portion, but that's really fueling entrepreneurship in mature companies. A lot of people focus on the early stage and the growth, but the entire spectrum of entrepreneurship is completely aligned with the growth of the companies that will create the employment for Canadians. If someone asks me why capital is important to our economy and access to capital is important, I would say it is the fuel that will enable our startup companies to bloom and really the engine that will make our more mature companies grow. And when I think about that growth, I think about their ability to export, their ability to grow in the market. A number of years ago, when entrepreneurs began forming companies and growing companies, many times they thought about the US market only. Today, in order to get growth capital, you have to have a global outlook. So that capital is really going and injecting dollars and strategy into companies that have this global reach. The importance of the technology sector and the amount of capital that's flowing into it is key. 60% of all venture capital dollars go to ICT companies, and those dollars are not to grow companies that are focused on Canada. And really what investors are looking for is that technology or that company that will be able to grow and amplify their footprint from Canada, but really be able to reach consumers from across the world. We're talking health tech, fintech, AI technologies that are driven in just IT platforms that will really be able to capture a larger footprint of consumers. We see a lot of entrepreneurship in Canada. We see it from the business school. We are very good at starting companies. And I do think that the growth of companies, we will continue to see entrepreneurs holding longer and really building it for the global market. Shopify, of course, is the example that many people will turn to. But when I look at Lightspeed, one of the biggest IPOs that we had in Canada, the entrepreneur that started Lightspeed had a really strong vision for a global company. And I do believe that success influences more success. And as entrepreneurs in Canada start their companies and see their peers holding the course in building these companies for the world, Canada will find its place and will succeed within that global marketplace. So if I was asked which stakeholders are the most important to the future of our economy, I would start by saying the government is the underpinning of the ability to do business, how seamlessly corporations can grow, enter, and really like the lack of red tape and just making sure that Canada is a place where things can get built easily and grow. And they've done a tremendous job in terms of our access to global markets through trade agreements, and we are trying to attract more entrepreneurs to come and build companies in Canada. And the ecosystem and the environment in which we grow them is really important. The second thing I would say is talent. And talent is a combined effort. The job that the government has done on the turnaround on visas of 2 weeks has been tremendous. My organization works hand in hand with the government in the startup visa program. So if an entrepreneur somewhere around the world thinks Canada is a place where he would like to grow its company and they have a venture partner that is interested in their growth, we will facilitate their entry through a visa program into Canada, and my organization will accompany the government in that. And really, once you have it here, you have to retain it. Like attracting people only for a few years, you have to demonstrate that Canada is a great place to live, that we have great institutions, that their kids are going to get a great education, and in Canada should be their home for the foreseeable future. And then the rest of it is just making sure that our members are deploying enough capital for it to grow, and that the ecosystem is being fueled by more entrepreneurs. So I really think it is not one person's responsibility, it's a joint responsibility. So that's a great question. Where do I see the opportunities for growth and private capital in Canada? Montreal and Toronto, of course, and the Toronto corridor, including Kitchener-Waterloo and Quebec, of course, are the number one, the two biggest anchors where we see. Vancouver would probably be that third market. My biggest surprise was Saskatoon. I spent a number of days visiting Saskatchewan, both in Regina and in Saskatoon, and was really blown away by the work that they're doing in not creating a large amount, but really quality companies. I can think of Coconut Software, and really a strong foundation of entrepreneurship and successful entrepreneurs that are giving back to their ecosystem. Life sciences in Edmonton was really impressive. Verifin in Newfoundland, $515 million in one round. They are a very dominant player in Newfoundland, but also inspire other entrepreneurs in the Atlantic to say, you can build it here and the dollars will come. Across the country, in small communities, everyone is thinking, how do I support my entrepreneurs in my ecosystem? We see Sherbrooke in Quebec being, higher up on the list in terms of the number of startups that they are creating. And all around, I would say many people thought that you have to be in a large center to get the dollars, but some of these companies are proving otherwise. The question of capital going into the Indigenous community, I think, is something that the government has turned their attention to through that fund-to-fund program called Vicky. Their stream 2 was for diversified funds and underrepresented population. I know some dollars are going. The level of entrepreneurship in Aboriginal communities, I assume will grow as the capital is there, but it's very challenging, and we haven't spoken about the allocation of dollars to women entrepreneurs. They receive less than 5% of all of VC funding, and there are a number of women entrepreneurs out there. So when you think about Aboriginal entrepreneurs, like these small underrepresented groups are really fighting a dominant market where dollars are allocated mostly to often, unfortunately, all male teams. In terms of immigrant entrepreneurs, Dream Maker Venture is one VC in Toronto, which is all about diversity and making sure that they're supporting entrepreneurs that are of a diverse background. So yes, some dollars are allocated there. In terms of the number of and the share of the pie, we still have a lot of work to do to grow that. If I was asked to pitch and I only had 30 seconds to convince someone as to why Canada's entrepreneurship segment of our economy is where we should own in, I would say I would turn to the government really and say we need to ensure that this emerging asset class, because private capital it's been around Canada for a number of years, but really the amount of dollars that is flowing into it has reached a level where we're starting to play, but we need to see consistent return. And they don't have to stay there forever, but they should stay the course for a bit longer. On talent, we have to work with them to make sure that we continue to attract and that the ability to enter Canada's workplace and our work stream is facilitated in terms of our operating environment, be it taxes and just like red tape. We need to make sure that we can do it as easily as we can while paying our fair amount of tax and just, giving back to the community, but really making sure that the business environment is really top-notch.